Well, hello one and all. I have found this beautiful video of Sargon Akkad talking about one of the places I have a citizenship in, which is Italy. Now, the premise of this video is as follows. Sargon of Akkad, or Carl Benjamin, as is his name, and his wife go for a holiday. They want to go to Australia, can't go to Australia, end up going to Italy, but they decide not to go to the touristy places. They deliberately decide to go all the way south to Sicily. A place, let's just say that the Italians from the north, where I'm from, rather don't think very much of. But I think it's fascinating and I want to talk about something. So, at the moment, he just described that there's graffiti everywhere and everything feels very, very ugly and dirty and grimy. And so, let's see what he has to say.
And many of the Italian towns I've been to feel very run down. Like, nobody really cares about what happens on the streets and takes care of the streets, which is not how Northern European towns are. I've been to many places like Germany, in England, in Norway. The streets of the towns themselves are well taken care of. And when they're not, everyone is constantly going on about potholes in the roads or broken tiling and stuff like this. But in Italy, this was just completely normal.
Yes. And this is, I think, where I'm going to stop the video. Yes, this is completely normal in Italy. Because you see, dear Carl, Europe is essentially divided in half on a horizontal line. Anything Germany and above, and anything France and down. And this division is cultural, fundamentally. Think of it this way. There is a great analogy that you can use. If you consider the concept of public property, like streets, roads, buildings, that sort of thing. Public property in Germany is defined as, that which belongs to everybody. Now, if you go to Italy, public property is defined as that which belongs to nobody. You understand how the concept is exactly the same one way or the other, fundamentally speaking, but one is sort of the glass half full and the other one is the glass half empty. So because in Germany, the roads, the buildings, etc. belong to everybody, everybody understands that they need to take care of these places, generally. So, for example, if you do not litter, it's going to be much easier to keep it clean because you didn't litter in the first place. You put the trash in the bin, you put your trash in a specific bin, whatever. Generally speaking, makes it almost trivial to keep the public space free of trash. But if you go to Italy, everybody flings their cigarette butts out of their car. Everybody throws the cigarette packet that is empty out of the car window. I mean, it's not their place, right? So it doesn't matter. At home, they will put things into their bins, and they will generally have a nice home, the inside of their house. But everything outside and anywhere around, that's fair game. Right? In Italy, for example, is a very, very famous thing, which is the dog droppings. Dogs in Italy utilize pavements as their personal latrine, and the owners don't pick them up. Now, bear in mind, I haven't been to Italy with any level of seriousness for friggin' 15 years, so my knowledge of it may be somewhat out of date. I have visited more recently, but I certainly wasn't looking at the turds on the floor. So it might have gotten better. But it used to be cultural that you just take the dog out and the dog poops wherever he poops. And that's it. It was very, very common when we used to go to school as teenagers to dodge poops as you walk on the pavement. It's just how it is. And this applies conceptually to almost everything. For example, the moment in which you go to Austria and you approach a zebra crossing to cross the road, cars stop. They see you and they stop. It's a... you have communicated that you want to cross. The driver has noticed that you have communicated that you want to cross. The driver lets you go. You pass, say thank you. The world moves on. Everyone's happy. But you do the same thing in Rome, and you'll find a very, very different scenario. Like, crossing the road in Rome is like playing Frogger. There is a very, very decent chance you're going to get run over. It's remarkable. I'll finish with this. Where I live, which is another country in the south of Europe, particularly in my area, the local news have reported that, I believe yesterday night or 2 nights ago, a young fellow on a motorcycle was catapulted off of his motorcycle while driving along what would technically be considered the main road that leads to the village I live in. Okay? And I do not know how hurt he got. I think substantially, like proper injuries, something broken, whatever, right? I think he's fine, but, you know. That road has been in such a state for, blimey, 4 years, I think. It's always terrible. Potholes everywhere. Absolutely. Potholes that are serious, like sinkholes. Like some of my cars, for example, are relatively low, so it really, like, it makes me apprehensive to drive that. And this kid nearly broke his neck. And now they filled in the hole. It's amazing. Don't know what to tell you, mate. The north is superior. It's just how it is. And the south is inferior. And so many people come to these southern countries because they enjoy the sun, and they're right to do so because the sun is lovely. I mean, northern countries really do suck from their perspective. I've lived in the United Kingdom for 3 years. Goodness gracious. Amazing country, amazing people, but your weather, oh boy, that is just comes straight from hell. Your weather is just friggin' awful. You know? But the culture is dramatically superior further up north. Dramatically. Everything works better. Because fundamentally everybody is not an arse. But you go a little bit further south, everybody's an arse. By default. They might be well nice to you, but they're still an arse. Let me give you another example of the same half full, half empty glass. In England, where you're from, right? If you are selling a used object, let's say a used car, right? You guys usually give the history of stuff and everything like that, and you value it very much, and that's great, right? Generally speaking, it is considered fraud to sell something and misrepresent it. You want to give everybody the best chance possible to understand what it is that the other person is buying. Why? That way you can sleep at night, your conscience is fine, you didn't defraud anybody, etc., etc., etc. You go to Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, all of these beautiful places. Yeah? The history of the car doesn't exist as a concept. It's done. You just can't find it. Okay? The car is going to be severely overpriced by default. One of the reasons why that is because it is by default intended that you're going to negotiate on that price. Now, you don't negotiate like an Englishman, where you propose a reasonable position and the other person meets you maybe in the middle, you argue over details, that sort of thing, in a reasonable fashion. If you argue your way in one of the Latin countries, it's like, I swear to you, it's salt and vinegar. Like, people go, oh no, but my mother owned this car, and you 3 hours and a half bearing with this guy's life story, and you don't care about it. Right? And then maybe he whittles you down because you're so friggin' tired of listening to his stupid emotional outbursts that you kind of just want to move on. I'm not sure. But, so there's that. And it's completely standard that you are defrauded in the used car market. Like, for example, somebody will sell you a vehicle saying, it smokes a little in the morning. Now you think maybe the rings are a bit tired or whatever. Nope. Turns out the gasket is blown. And he's been pouring that sort of like gasket sealant fluid in into the coolant bottle for who knows how long, just to try to sell it off. This is incredibly common. Car is ruined and they'll sell you it. They try to get away with it. Why? Because if in England, if I defraud you, it's shame on me. Culturally, everybody agrees. I am the fraudster. In Latin Europe, if I defraud you, you're the moron. And because you're the moron, the shame is on you. And you have no recourse. Isn't that lovely? That's completely normal. Oh, one more, go on. Then I'll stop. The last one is, suppose you're going to a store. You go to a store in England, right? The clerk is working with you to deal with the cost, the prices, you pay, you leave, nice. Everybody's polite. Yeah, maybe the clerk offers to help you pack your bags, whatever, but everything is nice and comfy and normal. But let's say you're in Italy shopping, right? And as you shop, somebody enters the shop. And as you're about to pay, this somebody starts having a chat. And I mean a proper chat. An open discussion with the clerk. And you're just there, sort of waiting for these two people to essentially talk about their lives as you're trying to pay and move on with your life. They don't care in the slightest that you are there. You simply need to wait. Or you need to be rude and say, I'm sorry, could we please sort out my payment so I can move on with my life? If it's not too much to ask. Usually they'll go ahead with that. But it's not cultural that they will go, let me finish the work and then deal with it. Oh, here's one more. In Northern Europe, punctuality is extremely important. Why? Punctuality is a demonstration of respect of the person you're dealing with, say for business or anything else, right? Punctuality. But if you go to Southern Europe, punctuality is optional. There are hundreds of examples, and some of them extremely egregious. Okay, like I'm talking about lateness that would amount to months. Okay, I once sold a house in Italy on behalf of my mother, and my mother passed away before we were able to conclude the sale because the guy wasn't giving the money after having given the deposit. And then I had to inherit the house, and it's a whole unbelievable. So this is the egregious stuff, right? And the guy simply doesn't feel in any way guilty about having done this. It's incredible. There's no part of him that cares about the fact that I've lost thousands and thousands of euros just to inherit something, because you need to pay taxes on inheritance, blah blah blah, and all of the processes and fly to places to put a stupid signature because nobody does anything online, right? Whatever. Anyway. Setting my personal grievances aside, but say my daughter, who is now attending a school, high school, her professors are consistently late. The absolute minimum lateness of a professor in a class generally is 5 minutes. That's the minimum. The maximum lateness, 15, 20. Easy, no problem. The students, I don't know, hardly children, quite old by now, right? Just wait. That's just how it is. Just wait. That's cultural. It's terrible, man. Terrible. The southern part of Europe sucks because of the people that inhabit it. And once, as a person coming from there, you experience a different world, the Anglophone world, or the German world, or the northern world, like Scandinavian, that sort of thing. I have never experienced that, but I'm assuming it's like that. You like go, oh my goodness, so it's possible. There are places in the world in which when you call a plumber, the plumber actually shows up, and he's not drunk. Incredible. So yeah, my friend, England is much better than Italy, will always be. The only thing you people do not know at all about is food. You guys have absolutely no knowledge about it, and that's okay. That's okay. Bless you. It's fine. But yeah, don't go to Italy, mate. I haven't returned to Italy for a reason. Even now, many years after, it's still nagging me. with problems that are due to neglect and lack of respect, and just it's unbelievable. Italy sucks. So yeah. Goodbye.